Hello boys and girls, welcome back to my workshop. Stephen the Builder here. I'm so glad to hear that many of you have been building rockets, and boy was I impressed with Amber. You made a fabulous rocket. It was spectacular. I think it was wonderful. Well done. My favourite one so far has been the one with Benny in it. Poor old Benny, he's a trained astronaut, I know, but I feel a bit mean with him having to sit on top of his rocket. Maybe I should cut a little hole in it, and I've made a bit of windscreen for him out of the side of a bottle, and he could be inside the rocket. Would be a little bit better, I think, don't you? So let's just land him over here because I want to look some more at our big tall rocket here. So just land Benny's going to land down there, and let's look at this rocket here, which is the one I was telling you about yesterday, the Saturn V. If you have a look, there's three little heads in there. Those are the three men in their little helmets. You can see them in there. They're in that command module right at the top, which is this part here on this big rocket here. Just that little cone. Three men inside that. And then behind them is the service module. That's got some beds and things for when they're in space here. And then behind that is the motor that drives the big service module. And then behind that is the landing craft that lands on the moon. You can see the legs are tucked up here, and when it's ready to deploy, which means get ready to go, an explosion happens and all the sides blow out and leave the landing craft ready to go, and its legs open out and it comes into land. But we're going to look at that soon. So here I've got a picture of what happens. The command module, that's the bit right at the top, and the service module have moved away. If we look over here, there's the command module here, and there's the service part, and in here is going to be the landing craft. Come back to our picture and you can see the bit here with the landing craft in it, and the sides have blown off, bang, all four of them blow away with a big explosion, and that leaves the head of the landing craft out, and all it needs to do is slip out now and open its legs and get ready to go down for the landing. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blast off. Well, that was an exciting launch, wasn't it? And Benny, our trained astronaut, was aboard the rocket going up. So soon he'll be boarding the landing craft to come down onto the surface of the moon. So let's have a look at the landing craft, the picture from the Saturn V rocket. Here it is. We're going to make something similar today, and it's going to have a body and some legs sticking out, and we'll make it from bits and pieces that we can find. You'll be allowed to make anything you want and stick it on. It'll be great fun, won't it? Well, I've heard that Benny has changed places now. He's moved from the command module through to the lunar landing module, and he's on his way down to the moon. I can just see him in the distance. Can you see him? Well, we heard some sound as he came down to land, and we know that that wouldn't really be the case on the moon, because where there's no atmosphere, there's no sound. But he's landed safely, and Benny's just coming down the ladder. If you come around, you'll be able to see him getting out of the lunar module. He's just coming down the ladder. So he's on the surface of the moon already. Now I'm going to show you how I made my lunar module to some extent, and you can make your own lunar lander. So, let's look at the parts. I'll just ask Benny to hop out of the way for a second, and we'll just lift up the lunar lander and we'll look at some parts. I just made him out of two yogurt containers. There's one there, I put them back to back, and you can see that that was that one there, that one that went that way, and one went this way. And then I just stuck bits and pieces on. But first of all I did the legs, and the legs are very important to hold it up straight, but I made them just out of cardboard, and to make the legs strong, I'll show you what I did. I just cut them quickly. I just cut a leg here, Sorry about that, Benny. I bumped Benny over, he's fallen over on the moon. We better hop him up. Poor Benny. You hold on to the ladder there, mate. So what I did is just cut a piece of cardboard, then I scored it down the middle with a ruler, like so. And then I bent it like this. And then I stuck those on like so. They got stuck on the side. And what I did is I put a little cut in them halfway down. A little V cut like that. So that where they bent down I could bend it and glue it there so that they stuck out. And I put little feet on the bottom of those. Because we weren't sure how soft the moon was going to be. So they needed big wide feet in case it was soft soil and the legs sank into the ground. I made some solar panels just out of some black cardboard, just cut them out of black cardboard. You need solar panels to collect battery power. Put that cardboard out of the way. And then I made some little shapes, boxes and shapes and things like that, and stuck them on. Like so. And then, of course, a satellite dish. I showed you how to make satellite dishes yesterday, didn't I? You need a satellite dish to receive the radio signals. And in some cases I put on little blocks of wood as well, just to make it look varied. So you can stick anything together to make your lunar lander model. It can be anything. It does need a bottle cap of some sort like this on the top, because when it comes back to join with the lunar module in space, when it comes back to join with the command module in space, that will link up to here. Because the men crawl through that space into the command module to go home. When this lunar lander takes off, in actual fact, it's supposed to leave its legs behind because they're weight that's not needed. But in this case, we don't worry about that because our lunar modules needs to be reused. So shall we take him off again? Benny's got back on board. Blast off. Well, Benny's back in his moon lander and he's on his way back up to the command module. He's got his spacesuit on and his space helmet. You have to have both of those things when you go into space. Sammy wanted to come too, and Timmy as well, but they couldn't come because they didn't have spacesuits or space helmets, and they weren't trained like Benny's trained. Benny's been collecting the rocks that he's supposed to take back to Earth so he can study what the moon's surface is like. So we're going to let him go back up and to join up with his command module now, and until tomorrow I'm going to say goodbye as well, but make sure you're really well behaved for your parents, boys and girls. So bye bye Benny, we'll see you tomorrow.